Alright, ladies and gentlemen, back here again with another kind of a blending of an initial impressions and testing of the Void Walker. Now, the Void Walker is made by Perna Darnol in Nepal, great Gurkha Kukri shop. And he's done a beautiful job. He's actually nailed the design pretty much perfectly. But I've got the specs up here this time. It's a 333mm long blade, so 33.3 centimeters, or roughly about 13 inches. I believe that's correct. Yeah, just over 13 inches. The spine is about 7mm or 7mm at the bolster, tapers down to about, what was it? About 4? Yeah, about 4 towards the tip. It's a 14 centimeter handle. I'll have to confirm that. I'll put it up on the screen. And comes with this really cool little guard here that he's flared out for me. That's so you can get 2 fingers in there for choking up, for if you're carving with just the kukri by itself. It does, however, come with a backup knife. Now, this is a little bit different to your usual carder, as you can tell. It's got a stepped blade, and what the stepped blade does is it allows you to carve the hollow in your spoons. So that's a pretty important feature that would have come out. Everyone would have been like, oh yeah, the tracker knife come out with that, the Tom Brown tracker. Absolutely it did. Good feature to have. So I've chucked it in on here, and that's a little EDC knife all by itself. I've also swept up the belly here and brought the point down so it's not quite as stabby or sharp. I did that on purpose because if you use this like a skinning knife, you don't want a really sharp tip that'll penetrate through the hide while you're skinning. So that's why I've done that. So you can do your carving and you can do your skinning. It's got a 90-degree spine on it, so you can also process your tinder. So yeah, it's a nice, very comfortable little blade. So I'll put that one away for now. And it also does come with a chakmak, which I'll show you shortly, and it does throw sparks. But for starters, let's get into some chopping. So, where's something with a nice big branch? I reckon that'll do. Right, so we'll start with something relatively small, nothing too big. We'll get into that bit in a minute. Get out of it. Alright, so do some chopping on the stump first. Get on the actual stump, that would help. Where are we? Get on there. There we go. Get that piece out of the way. Now we can actually do some proper cutting. Pretty thin to start with, about the size of my thumb. And it cuts through in one go, which should be expected. Alright, a bit thicker. One go. Can you see how clean that is? Perna's known for his razor sharp blades, so the weight of this is 660 grams. So it's a midweight. Alright, now we're getting a bit thicker again. And we've got 2 chops. I make short work of it. We'll go to the thick part. Do one more cut. There we go. before. It's also balanced on its edge. So you find your balance point and it'll dance around like that. Everybody knows that's how I like my my Kukri balanced. It dances on its edge like that. Alright. Let's get something a little bigger. We'll cut this and then we'll split it. Chop that bit off, don't need that. There we go. Alright, let's do it. How's that? Not bad for a big bite. Yeah, nice. Seasoned hardwood, about the size of my lower arm. Split it down. I don't even need to baton this. This will go through. There we go. Nice. And because of where the point of balance is on this, choking up like this is actually quite easy. It doesn't really fatigue me much. And I can get me feathers, see? I mean, they're coarse feathers, but we are doing it with the main blade, see? So it's not too hard at all. Because the point of balance is right there. Hold on, you can't see me. The point of balance is right there. So having it choked up like that, and having a load bearing on there, it actually balances the knife out while you carve. So that's quite good. See, you can sit there and just I'm barely even trying, of course, because as I said, most of this sort of thing would normally be done by the carter. So. But I built it in there for redundancy. A bit like this fuller down here near the edge. If you hold it by that fuller, you've got yourself a kitchen knife. Again, the balance is here. That's the point of balance. So it's not going to fatigue you quite as quickly, but you can always put a lanyard through the choil or just behind there to take the weight off onto your arm instead if you want to. Again, it's not the primary use, that's a redundancy, so you can do your kitchen work if you lose your carter. Alright, so I'll chuck this over here for a moment. We'll do a little bit of carving with the carter. So where's a stick? That's a good size stick that you would carve on. Alright, so this, being the carter, is obviously a much finer edge, which means it's a lot sharper. So you can, if you want to, I'll get rid of the bark first so we can actually get into the wood, and we'll carve on the wood a little bit, and you can see for yourself that if you want to take your time and your care and all that kind of business, you should be able to carve on this quite easily. Of course, I've gotten a curved bit, but yeah, whatever. And with these seasoned hardwoods, they like to do that, where they like to skip off. It's also my technique. My technique isn't great. I don't do a whole lot of carving. but it just glides through the wood. It's not too troublesome at all. You can get your feathers without any trouble whatsoever. I just need to learn a little bit of control with my carving, that's all. So you can see there's your feathers. You can obviously make it a lot finer than that, and then you got your 90-degree spine. So I'll get rid of the feathers, and I'll see if I can show you the fuzz that this can produce without it falling off the stick, preferably. There we go, I just lost it. What if I do it this way? Alright, this is going to be a problem. It keeps wanting to fall off the stick. I'll do some more after I finish the video, and I'll just put a photo up of the fuzz that this makes. But you get an idea. It makes quite a fine fuzz, perfect tinder, and yeah, that's the Carter. So that'll serve me quite well. I'm looking forward to using that. The only thing that I'll say that I have, the only kind of reservation I have against the knife is the scabbard. It's not very fancy, it's quite bulky, all that kind of thing, but I'm guessing that was a cost-saving thing because, you know, making this knife is pretty expensive. It's, you know, custom design knives are usually quite pricey, so I'm guessing that was a cost-cutting thing, and it's also because he probably knew that I was going to go for a Kydex setup after this anyway, or a leather. Maybe even a hybrid. Leather with a little strip of Kydex in it for retention. Could do that too. But yeah, Voidwalker, fantastic blade, and we might do a little bit more cutting before we go, just for fun, and because I need to test it. There we go, we'll cut into this knot here, or what's left of it. Bite's deep. Swings intuitively. Its balance, its balance is phenomenal. It's just really, for 660 grams, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It flows really well. So I can sort of do all my spinny shit if I want. That's fine. You know, all the flowing sort of fighting moves and all that sort of stuff. I'm not a professional, I'm not even trained on how to use a Kukri in combat, but I believe the design of the Kukri lends itself, so you don't really, I mean, you could learn how to use it properly, but it's, yeah, it's kind of an intuitive weapon, I think. Anyway, thank you very much for that. I will probably do another video on this one in particular because it is a favorite of mine. Of doing a hard testing and probably just some more use out bush maybe, but I do love it. Perna's done a fantastic job. The last thing I'll show you before I go is the Chakmak. So I'll get the Chakmak out for you because it's a beautiful piece of work. Here we are here. There you go. How cool is that? Beautiful. So what I'm going to be doing for my next designs is I'm going to have something like this, but instead of having just a little notch there, I want to see if I can turn that into a bottle opener because I reckon that'd be quite useful. And it does strike sparks off the spine quite readily and quite well, so you might get to see that in the next video if I do another one on this, which I probably will, especially if I get a new sheath made up for it. But yeah, awesome blade. Very comfortable, very sharp, very effective, and it just cuts. It just wants to cut. It's awesome. I'm barely putting any effort into that at all. Just flicking the wrist, and it's just taking chunks out of that tree, no problem. So there you go. Voidwalker, everyone. Available at Great Gurkha Kukri shop, Perna Denal. he does customize them if you like. If you want to do something a little bit different, he can do that too. So go check him out. Thanks, guys. Yeah, good.